What's up, guys? I don't know how closely you're following this, but I've had an EV in the past, and recently in business, there is a huge electric vehicle EV war going on in the United States, with particularly China. All of these EV stocks, including a stock that I was so happy to own in the past, NIO, has completely plummeted. In fact, if you look at all the stocks from the EV market from this year, have all gone down significantly. We're talking Lucid, Rivian, Fisker. I mean, Fisker dang near is at less than $1. You've got NIO. All of the stocks out there have crashed, and they're continuously crashing. And the big scare with EVs are the fact that China can produce an electric vehicle for much cheaper than the United States can. And in the past, the tariff to import an automobile was around 2.5% in the EV sector. The United States has an average selling price of EVs for around $50,000 to $55,000. However, BYD out of China, which originally was making batteries and is the leading manufacturer of vehicles in China, who can completely overtake, the electric car market, is producing an electric EV for around $10,000 with the speed capable of going to 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. I mean, you've got a manufacturer that is pricing an electric vehicle about $30,000 less than the leading manufacturer here, which is Tesla. Elon Musk recently went to China and stated that unless tariffs are going to be raised or regulated on EV exports and imports, exports out of China, imports into the United States, it's going to crash the EV economy in America, and China will be the leading EV manufacturer in the world. They're going to completely destroy a lot of these companies that are here already, which is Lucid, Rivian, some of the other ones out there. And they're even overtaking, obviously, some of the Chinese manufacturers, Xpeng, NIO, Li Auto. So there's so many out there. But BYD is the leader of these manufacturers. So to counteract this problem, this huge worry that not only Tesla founders have, but also all of the other EV manufacturers here in the US, the Biden administration has raised Trump's tariff, which was at 25%, not the 2.5% before. Before, a $10,000 car would cost you $250, or a $20,000 car would cost you $500 on tariffs. Now they raised it to 25%, so $2,500 for every $10,000. Now they're raising it 100%. So if you have a car that's $20,000 coming out of China or anywhere else, particularly China, that car is going to cost $40,000 in the United States, and the government is going to collect 100% on what the car value for sale is and use that money for government expenses. So they're obviously trying to control which company can come into the country to regulate the entire automotive economy. And I think it's a smart move. They have to absolutely not allow a potential like this to come in and really dominate the market. Now, on the flip coin, you got Tesla also selling in China and having some gigantic factories. And I'm wondering, the reason for that is probably because Tesla manufactures in China and therefore boosting the Chinese economy. At the same time, I would imagine the Chinese are learning from Tesla's manufacturing and implementing it in their own manufacturing tactics. Here, BYD would have to come over to America and manufacture the vehicle in America in order to avoid this tariff, thus providing more jobs. And I think it's a good move. Comment below if you agree. If BYD enters the US market, and if there is no tariff, such as the one that the Biden administration proposed, they will kill companies like Lucid, Polestar, Rivian, you name it. All those companies cannot survive, in my opinion. And it is because the same type of quality of car, if not better, will be way cheaper. That's great for the consumer, but it's not great for the US economy. With EV sales actually going down because of demand, and the lack of infrastructure in terms of charging for non-Tesla vehicles and including Tesla vehicles, I believe that gas vehicles are actually making a comeback. In fact, a lot of manufacturers are now canceling going EV only. Exotic car manufacturers are also canceling going EV only, such as McLaren, which was going to be doing that. Now they stopped. I think that's a great thing. I think the consumer should have the option to choose gas vehicle or electric vehicle. And also keep in mind the amount of power it takes to power all these electric vehicles. The United States, including states like California, who are saying by a certain year, 2035, I believe, is the year they're saying that no more gas vehicles should be manufactured and sold in the state. They're going to go electric only. I don't think that's going to happen within that time frame with everything the state is dealing with. It's just not possible. In addition, what people don't realize is that electric vehicles draw a lot of energy to recharge. What would happen when there's a power grid failure, if there's a potential disaster, or even the fact that coal still is powering these plants and energy is being created through burning these gases and this fuel. So overall, you can't just have energy grow on trees. It doesn't work that way. Nuclear power plants have not been built in America as much, and nuclear energy has not been considered as an alternative as of recent. So this is becoming a problem. Here's another thing. To make electrical vehicles, you need way more minerals and natural resources to create electric vehicles. And the way that they get these resources from places like Africa and so forth is not kosher. It's improper. In fact, some of these minerals to make an electric vehicle, you don't even need in gas cars. For example, you don't need nickel in a gas car, yet you need nearly 40 kilograms of nickel per vehicle in electric. You don't need as much copper in a gas vehicle as you do in an electric vehicle. In fact, it's over double the amount of copper required to make an electric vehicle. Here's a big one: cobalt and lithium for these batteries. Lithium comes in at about 10 kilograms to make an electric vehicle, and this is on the smaller side. Cobalt is over 13 kilograms, and gas vehicles don't need it. So you're depleting natural resources to make electric vehicles. In fact, are electric vehicles worth it? There's been hydrogen powered engines where you could power your vehicle based off water in the past, and the individual that created it some years back or decades back somehow mysteriously disappeared. Of course, this would affect the entire automotive industry of gas-powered vehicles, but lithium or battery-powered vehicles may not be the solution for sustainability, for a better environmental impact, because they drain so much natural resources. And China's the leading producer of some of the most rare resources in the world. Of course they have the advantage. So BYD has the advantage to making these vehicles, while companies in the United States may need to purchase these resources, therefore their cost of production is higher. Electric vehicles tend to be heading towards newer drivers, younger drivers, and drivers that can afford such vehicles. But overall, they're not understanding the mining aspect, the gathering of the minerals, the impact of energy on society, and they're being sold electric vehicles as a ticket of the future that is better for the environment, but they're not displaying what it takes to make an electric vehicle, what it takes to charge an electric vehicle, and where does the power come from, and whether it's sustainable. Here's another scare with electric vehicles that I have over gas-powered vehicles. God forbid the United States gets into a war, a disaster happens, whatever it may be. What will happen to all these electric vehicles sitting around? You won't be able to flee from one state to another state with your family because there's no more charging capabilities. These vehicles are going to be stopped. What if a vehicle gets hacked? Now, what would happen if vehicles are naturally hacked or hacked by some hackers and they're all stopped, or the autopilots stop working, or their processing systems are not working? They could totally shut down the vehicles. I've had with my Tesla a vehicle completely stop. It wouldn't shift into drive. It was locked. And the only way they were able to reset it is they did it through the airwaves. So to me, that was an interesting point. And I thought, if they or someone locked my vehicle in place, what would happen if someone wants to lock all of our vehicles in place that are electric? Comment below if you love electric vehicles or not. I don't own one anymore for several reasons, including that and problems. But it scares me to have a vehicle that's constrained by a computer that could be hacked potentially. Another thing I want to mention is being near the Tesla factories here in the Bay Area, there are so many Tesla Model Ys that have not sold, and Tesla has really pushed a crazy incentives, almost under 1% financing, which is really good with today's interest rate. And they still can't get rid of these vehicles fast enough to meet their demands, in my opinion. Overall, if you go to an auction, a used car auction, and you look to see Model Y vehicles passing through those car auctions, they're not even getting bid on as used vehicles. And on top of that, we've seen Rivian, for example, lose at auction half of its value. So when someone buys a Rivian truck for nearly $90,000, which is crazy, and the Cybertrucks are that price, when they go on the second gray market, they're fetching $55,000, $60,000, sometimes even below $50,000. So to me, the investment of an electric vehicle as new is not a good investment right now, with BYD potentially knocking down the door with some cheaper options, and with Tesla not being able to offer cheaper alternatives yet. This electric vehicle market and the mandates that states like California are putting that you have to drive electric is just beyond ridiculous, and it could be troublesome. Comment below if you agree. Leave your comments whether or not you're in favor or against electric vehicles, whether you feel it's a consumer choice, and whether this could be a problem in the future for our safety. Not to mention, if you go on YouTube and you take a radiation meter into a Tesla car, oftentimes the radiation, according to these YouTube videos, puts out the same amount of radiation as standing next to a microwave. So imagine sitting in a Tesla vehicle for an hour commute and having this radiation around you nonstop, as if you're standing next to a microwave for 1 hour, because of all this electronics in that vehicle, the batteries, etc. So to me, it's scary, and I don't know if it's healthy. You comment below, let me know your thoughts on that after doing your research. Also, check out the Ideal Hour podcast, where we talk about all sorts of fun things. I'm the host. You could check out that channel on YouTube, and you could check out the podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I'll check you guys here in the next video. Thank you.